Paints and Glitter. My name is Raquel and I welcome you to my channel. Today's video is a tutorial, step-by-step tutorial on how to construct this lantern that you see here. As you can tell, you can fit a small tea light. Now this is just for samples. I didn't have a battery operated one, so I just wanted to show you that yes, you can fit one in here. It does open and close, and it is a beautiful little lantern that you can use for any occasion. I'm going to be showing you how I made the Christmas lantern for my project for Renee Bouquets for the month of July. So let's begin. I'm going to show you step by step. There are many pieces to this, so let's begin with the one that has the largest square cut out of the center. As you can tell, you're going to be scoring or burnishing, the score lines to this piece here. And then you're going to want to start adhering the base, which is the 90-degree angles on this little box shape. And then the rest of them, if you can tell, are not 90 degrees. They're actually about a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to show you up close here. You want to take away your adhesive backing and then press together. And I just wanted to show you the curvature there so that you understand that it is not perfectly straight. So we can set that aside, move on to the next piece, and burnish all of the folds. Now this one has these little tab-like pieces on the corners. You're going to want to push those down, if you can tell there. And you can set it aside as well, but don't do any adhesive on that other piece that we just put aside. Now moving on to this one, it almost looks like a little pizza box, if you will, but it has the little square there in the center. And you're going to, again, just fold and burnish all of the sides. Now I'm using very heavyweight cardstock here, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I included this part here. Now to adhere this, as you can tell, I moved the one piece back a little bit, and that helped me to make sure that that bottommost part adhered nice and straight, because again, you want a 90-degree angle on that bottommost part. Then the second tier is what you're going to adhere next, and I do recommend the strongest adhesive you may have for this. So that tier is the one you want to adhere second. And then you're going to move on to the third tier. So this is important that you do the base first, then the second layer, then the third layer. And you'll see why. It's because of the shape. It's almost like a pyramid shape when you're done. And that's important to take that into account when you're building this. So the very topmost part here, as you can tell, is like a little lid. So to make sure that that's nice and straight, just remove that adhesive backing, and in the top corner there, you're going to see the final result of how that should look. So I just wanted to insert that little picture there for reference if you want to pause the video. But you want to make sure you do this nice and slow. I sped up the video for time's sake, but don't rush through this because you want to make sure that this is nice and straight. This is going to be the very topmost part of your lantern. Now those little triangles in the center, just push them down and then set this piece aside as well. For the next piece here, this one also has a square opening, and you're going to see that this is a larger square opening, and it also has some slits cut into it. So go ahead and again burnish all of your folds, and as you can tell, I did prep all of these with adhesive, and I did use score tape. I will be leaving a link down below if you have not yet purchased any score tape or are not familiar with it. You can use one of my affiliate links, and I do appreciate your support with that. It won't cost you any more than any other place. So you can use these little tabs here, and again, make sure that you adhere this really nice and straight. There are a lot of tabs in this the construction of this lantern. So it's it's probably going to take you a little while to make sure that you apply all of the adhesive, and that's why I did not use liquid adhesive, because you'd be holding this paper together for a while. So you can imagine that does add up, and time is precious. So these little tabs you can fold down if you want to, just to get them used to folding. So in the end, it won't fold down entirely. until you use the next part that will go with this. But in any case, when I have any fold lines, I like to prep them. So that's what I'm doing here, even though that's not going to adhere to the bottom of this particular piece. I'm just prepping the folds. That's all I'm doing here. However, you're going to just, you know, move those out of the way and again start assembling this sides first and then the front of it. And you'll see here, it just ends up looking almost like a little picture frame when you're done. So you can move the tab aside and then place your paper and adhere. And what's great about the score tape is that you can remove that backing little by little so you don't struggle with it like I was just doing there. Now you have some frames. You're going to be cutting out a frame that looks like this. It's got little notches on the bottom. You're going to cut out 2 of these. So that's important. Set that aside for a moment. And I'm going to show you the rest of them. So it should be 3 other frames that you cut out. However, I did cut out 6 because I wanted to reinforce these. Now, to me, it's important that if you're going to make a 3D project that it be nice and sturdy. For that reason, I backed those up. So I did that, the frame 3 times. Now, back to the one with the little slits. This one here, you're going to construct with 2 little pieces that cut out that look like little matchsticks. Those are actually scored in half and then again at the bottom, and it'll make like a little V fold there. So apply your adhesive right at the center. Make sure that that's folded right in half and adhered. You're going to do that twice. Now what I did with mine is that I took my craft blade and I extended that little cut just a tiny little bit because I was using thicker cardstock. It otherwise would not have fit through, and you can see what you have to do is you need to fit that through, use your adhesive and then adhere it to the back, and it's going to show like that. And that's going to be what holds your little window closed. So you're going to do that on both sides. Go ahead and feed through the little piece of paper again, fold the paper so that those little legs extend out, and then just press and you're going to have that little piece stuck there. So again, you could cut this frame twice if you wanted to make it thicker, or just use good sturdy cardstock. Now for the sides of the lantern, you're going to have 2 pieces that look like this. There's adhesive at the bottom, and then on one side you're going to join these, making sure that the tabs both meet on the top. In other words, the fold lines there meet at the bottom, and then those little tabs that almost look like a little Lego piece meet at the top. Now the little frame that has the slits is going to go on the last little window to the right. That's just for reference. It'll make it easier. So you see those little the little window protrusions there, I don't know, little ledges if you will. Go ahead and place that second one with the slits, and here's that ornate frame. It's going to fit right on top, so just press that down gently and then have it close, but you're not adhering that bottom part. Where you're going to adhere is on the uppermost part, because that does have a little score line there. So right above the score line is where you want to place your adhesive, and then press down gently. Make sure that that makes contact, and then you can move on to all of your other little windows. You're going to place your ornate frames first, then that double matted frame that we made earlier. So it, as you can tell, it's not a perfect square, so that's where I had to slow down a little bit there and make sure that I wasn't adhering those wonky, because if you do, then it's going to ruin your lantern. And as you can tell, I'm using strong adhesive. So as you can tell there, I adhered all 3 of the ornate frames first, and of course you can use whichever pattern you like. You're going to notice that all of these are the same. I just omitted the floral one. And then here I'm just burnishing those frames, but making sure that I don't touch that one with the little ledges. Okay, now you can close this lantern. I just removed the backing of the adhesive, and then lining this up perfectly at the bottom, I can then adhere these 2 pieces, And again, you want to be very gentle with those little pieces that jut out of that one little window so that you don't bend them. So that's where you have to be kind of delicate there. So as you can tell, this opens up, and these are the sides to your lantern. Now, the bottom piece that had the little tabs, as you can see there, it has the square opening both at the bottom and the top. Those little tabs are going to fit into these slits that you have on the side. So what you're going to do is you're going to start pushing that, and my suggestion is that you place your hand inside of the lantern and pull the little tabs in. Especially if you're using nice thick cardstock as I am, it will be a lot easier that way. And as you can see those little tabs on the inside. That's what you want to see when you're done, because you want this to be flush. Now on the little tabs, you're going to place adhesive, and then you're going to push those tabs up so that they meet the sides of your little lantern. Next, this little piece here that looks kind of like a little table that had the little strange corners, just push that all the way to the bottom of your lantern. And you don't need to place adhesive on that one. Just set it aside for a minute, and let's move on to these pieces that look like little straws, is what I'm going to call them. Now go ahead and fold all of the score lines here, and on the thinnest part is where you want to place your adhesive. That's where these two sides are going to meet, and then you can adhere them, and it's essentially going to make a little piece that almost looks like a square straw, and this is for support. I highly recommend that you do use this. Now there's two little tabs on each side as well. You can fold on the one side, you can fold them in. And here's what I've done. I took two straws that I had in my stash. They measured about 7.5 inches in length, I believe. So I cut them down to 3 7/8, just because that was, you know, half of the measurement. So I just made a little line here, and I cut them in half, and this is what you're going to use inside of that other little square straw that you adhere together. And there's going to be a total of 4. So I'm just showing there. I just placed one in there, and that is just for extra support. And you're going to do this for all 4 of them. So again, folding it, making sure you adhere the one side, and you're going to also place adhesive after you place those little straws in there. Place adhesive on the 2 sides that don't have the tabs. That's important. Make sure it's on the 2 sides that don't have the tabs. You're going to do that for all of your pieces. So I'm just going to show you here how I went about that. And again, on each one you're going to do the same. Now this is going to go on the corner of your box, and that's why there were those little holes on that one piece that you placed in the bottom. Now here's what I've done. I've removed the backing of the adhesive, folded the little tabs at the bottom, and made sure that this met the very corner of the box. So you want to be gentle with it, and you want to make sure that you don't stick it too soon. Now pushing that little straw all the way to the bottom, then you're going to line this up to your corner, and as you can tell, then you can adhere that to your corner with the little tabs facing in. So you'll do this a total of 3 other times. Again, just removing partially the adhesive, placing the straw in, pushing it all the way to the bottom, making sure that it doesn't make contact with that corner until you have that placed all the way to the bottom of the box. So you kind of have to wiggle it a little bit to make sure that that paper doesn't move away. And what I did was that I worked diagonally, so opposing each other, and that way I could have a good balance on this. Okay, so then now you can press that really nice, and then you'll continue on and have all 4 sides looking the same way. Now, this is the piece that will hold the votive. It looks here like a little star, and it does have little tabs there that I'm folding away. They are tiny little tabs, a little bit difficult to see here, but as you can tell, here I did use liquid adhesive because cutting down that score tape would have been really difficult. But here you can tell I'm just folding these pieces first, and then on each little tab, on each little tab I'm placing the adhesive and then pressing that together. I'm taking a sip of coffee because my throat got dry. But go ahead and do this on every single tab, and then move on to this piece that is kind of tubular here. Go ahead and remove the backing to the adhesive here, and this is a little octagon shape at the bottom. If you've made 3D projects before, you might recognize how this goes. Just meet each corner and press, and this is what's going to hold the little votive candle. You can go ahead and also place adhesive on the one tab, and this will close. And you're going to notice that they all have a little hole in the center. Now this one here, make sure that these tabs are folded up, not down. And then you're going to meet each little piece with each side panel. So this one was a tiny bit tricky because you want to make sure that you have strong adhesive, but at the same time, you can't remove the backing too soon or it will be wonky. So what I did was that, of course, as you can tell there, I just fit it in first, and then I kind of just, you know, reached in for those little tabs. So I had to get assistance from my pokey tool there. And then once they met the sides, that's when I was able to press and adhere. So just take your time. Again, the video is fast, but you want to take your time building this. It took me a while, but there you go. That's what you want that to look like. And the bottommost part here, just go ahead and fold that into itself. So this is going to be nice and sturdy, and I love this project because they took that into account so that you wouldn't have those raw edges. So there you go. That's what that's going to look like. And then that little hole meets the other one. I place adhesive there at the bottom, and then meet the flat sides with the next piece, and you'll have a cute little votive holder. Now you want to adhere this inside of your lantern. I had forgotten about it, so you can tell that the lantern already has a top on it, but you want to do this before you place the top on it. It's going to be my advice. But meet the little holes there, place plenty of adhesive here, be generous with the adhesive, and line up the little holes. Now, of course, if you do it the right way and don't have that lid in the place, then you'll be able to see it perfectly, but you can still see it from the bottom. And once that's adhered there, you can place the bottom of the lantern on, and that's the easiest piece you're going to put together there. Just meet it with the corners, and you'll have a nice finished piece at the bottom. So, magic of editing. Now you're going to place the top of the lantern, meeting those little tabs. So let's just pretend the votive is inside of there already. And just push them in gently so that you don't fold them before they're inside of that piece. But that's why it had the little slits. And here you see me pulling those little sides up. Now I did use hot glue here because I wanted a nice sturdy finish to this. You just want to make sure that you don't put so much on there that it oozes through the other side, because there are slits in this paper, but you can tell there it's just a matter of folding those little tabs over, and this will make sure that your lid is on really well. And now this piece here is going to be on the uppermost part of the lantern. This will go onto a hook. Now there is another piece to this file that I did not use in this tutorial. However, if you do want to purchase it, it's available in the design store. And it goes along with this lantern, as I mentioned, and it does hold it up. So the way to put this little hook on is that you adhere it to this piece that you see me assembling here. However, do it before you fold those sides in, and you can tell why. I ended up having to put my bottle of glue all the way in there, so I should have adhered that while it was still flat. So if you want to pause the video and do it the right way. But in any case, that's going to feed inside of that little hole that was on the uppermost piece there. Now it won't go flush on the very top, but it will fit flush on the bottom. And you can see me there also adhering this with hot glue and pressing it down. And this now with a lot of hot glue is how I adhered this. I was very generous with the adhesive, and then pressed it right on the top, and the lantern is complete. So as you can tell, that little hook there you want to place with facing the little tabs also there. So if you have any questions about this tutorial, feel free to reach out to me. I hope that you've enjoyed it, but I absolutely loved making this lantern. I hope that this can inspire you to make your own. This was a lot of fun to make, and here is the final result. As I always say, I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.